just for people who don't know, who are Millie Manders and the ShutUp?
We are Millie Manders and the ShutUp. We are a band that spans, generally speaking, London and Norwich now, although we originated out of London. We are a cross-genre punk band who incorporate things like ska and hip-hop and metal into our sound. So we're a very bouncy band, a little bit of screaming, lots of horns and riffs.
Basically, how long have you been going? Is it 4 or 5 years now?
Yes. I guess April 2014 was the first proper Millie Manders and the ShutUp show, I would say. So actually 6 now.
So how's COVID basically treated you as a band? Has it just like all been a complete wipeout or what?
Well, for gigs, yes, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, we've lost a lot of finance from shows, but actually we've been really, really lucky. We managed to secure funding from the Arts Council to help us create the album.
Oh, right, okay.
And we had some really good runs of limited edition merchandise that sold out. So that kind of kept us going throughout the pandemic. And we were able to keep the wheels turning, basically, with our promotion and releasing singles, you know. So thankfully, actually having the singles in the same place that we decided to have them in the first place helped to keep us going as well. So we've fared a lot better than other bands have, and we're very grateful because we've got a very awesome fan base that's very connected to us.
Yeah.
And have helped support us as well. So we've been all right, actually.
Still we sit on our thumbs. Procrastination's overdone. It's time to panic, panic. We've got to put the fire out. Why don't you panic, panic about the oceans crying out? Wake up and panic, panic. The world is quickly dying out. You're blind to panic, 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 panic.
Tell us about the album. Is it Telling Truths, Breaking Ties?
That's correct, yes.
So what is it? What can we expect for people who'll go and see it toured for the first time?
It's an evolution of the sound that people already know. So it's still got all of like the big horns and the guitar riffs and all that sort of stuff, but we've got a darker side that's come out. We've got a few synths in there. There's a little bit more of a metal edge. We've still got some of our politics through it. There's some talk about mental health in some of the lyricism, but it's still got all of our sort of upbeat groove to it as well. So there's still a lot you can bounce to. But it's certainly got a grittier edge this time around.
And can you tell us about some of the tunes that I've been watching on YouTube, such as stuff like Broken Record? What's that one about?
The whole album is kind of like a bit of a story, I guess. But Broken Record is basically when you get dumped and you can't get the person out of your head, and that's literally the premise for it.
Okay, and the one that I liked on YouTube is Little Big Mouth. That's very different.
One. Yeah, so that one was actually a solo one that I hired session musicians to work with on. So that was prior to me getting my band together, really. So I released that in 2013. I wrote it in 2011, 2012. So that's one of my much older songs I wrote before I even had the ShutUp around me.
You and your little big mouth. I pity you, baby. You and your little big mouth. Putting on the shortest dress you have, making sure that we can see your suspenders hanging right down low. Is this how you see beauty? Well, I pity you, baby.
I went solo in 2012. My previous band had a record deal that wasn't a very good record deal and wasted a lot of our time in legal deals, which meant that by the end of getting our assets back, we didn't actually have the fan base anymore. So I made the decision to go solo. But obviously in doing so, that means starting at ground zero again. And I wanted to get a band together, but it needed to be the right band, and it needed to be the right sound. So I spent quite a lot of time touring solo, or touring with session musicians in order to build my reputation back up under my own name, and cultivate the sound that I was really looking for, as I gathered trustworthy band members.
That's very strong of you, because if that happened to me, I'd just give up.
No. No. Music's just, I can't live without music. I can't live without playing music, and living music. So it wasn't even a conscious thought that I would give up on pursuing it, because it's all I've ever really done. My first band, I was 14.
Wow.
But I've been playing instruments since I was 5. So yeah, I haven't, and when I say I've not really done anything else, I've literally done music forever.
Really? You didn't have to, get the job in McDonald's or sweeping the factory floor?
Of course, yeah. I mean, every musician will have done, well, almost every musician will have done sort of background jobs and things to fund their way. I actually did work at McDonald's. I was a manager in McDonald's, helping run a drive-through in Hanworth while I did my performing arts BTEC in Twickenham. Richmond College, and I for years was a retail manager. I even was a store manager for Shoe in Essex at one point, and a manager on Oxford Street for Topshop and Shoe, and then I quit all of that to go to uni to study music management.
Right.
But the whole way through that I was either performing or touring or writing music, learning various instruments or vocal techniques. And then while I was at uni, I worked at Shepherd's Bush Empire and was a supervisor on the bar. So I did a lot of networking while I was there. And then when I came out of that, I decided that I would never again work in anything other than music. I made that choice, and I haven't since. I am just about to finish working at Access Creative College as a vocal artist course leader.
Okay.
And I've been there for 4 academic years now, and I also work on the artist development course. I do freelance artist development with a community project here, and guest lecturing and business consultation, because I majored in social media management. And in September I go back to uni to study my master's in music industry management and artist development, to practically apply that back into my music to further the band while I'm building my team and touring the UK.
Wow, that's amazing, because most people don't have those skills at all, and I suppose in the old days people would just look to get a record deal with a big record label, and then it'd be like, we've made it now.
Yeah, well, you just don't have that these days. That music industry doesn't exist anymore, so you have to gain the knowledge of the industry yourself and practically apply it to your own music.
So do you find, though, that, I mean, it's a situation where you've probably got your Elton John and Madonna at the top, nothing in the middle, and kind of everybody at the bottom trying to self-promote? Is it that way?
No, I don't think so. I think there are varying levels, and there are obviously, you don't just get the upper echelons of a record company, for example. There's lots of medium and small size labels who also have lots of cuts on them, and you then have independent artists who don't have a label, but they have a solid team around them. So at the moment we are at a stage where we have a booking agent in the UK, and they work with a booking agent in Europe. We have a publishing house who are starting to try and get us synchronizations, and we've just started working with a manager who's taking over some of the stuff that I do, and I'm looking to work with a merchandise company who will do some of our shipping from this autumn winter. But prior to this year and last year, all of that was done by me. And all of the merch orders are still done by me.
Wow.
And the stock takes and the finance and the taxes and the accounting, I manage the band. So and I did all of the booking and everything else. So that's why I studied my music degree, my BA in music management was so that I could learn to run my business. And why I'm going back to do my master's, to continue running my business while I'm building that team, and that team is building trust within itself. Yeah.
Even if Millie Manders and the ShutUp's got, doesn't quite make it massively huge, you're always going to basically run something in music, aren't you?
Yes. Yeah, that's the plan. And actually, what I'd really like to do at some point is write I want to do a PhD essentially after my master's, and my thesis would be my book on my journey as a DIY artist, and some of the things that I've learned along the way.
So your PhD's already planned out after your master's. Gosh.
Yes.
You did have the Less Than Jake tour, and then has that been rearranged?
Yes, that's next March. Yeah.
Phew, next March.
Mm-hmm.
And how did you get on that one? Was that due to your fantastic marketing, or did they pick you up, or were you friends with them?
Well, we did do the Fireball tour 2019. We played the London show as the opening act, but I don't actually think it was that. Mutti, our German European booking agent, invited Katrine, who is the European booking agent for Less Than Jake, to a gig we were supposed to do in Germany, which didn't go ahead for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
But Katrine kindly checked us out anyway, and she personally got in touch with our UK booking agent and asked for us to play the tour. So we were really lucky that we were personally invited to play the Less Than Jake tour.
Two levels of career going on in what I'm looking at. You're playing a lot of smaller places like the Star and Garter, which is my local gig venue, which is like 100 people upstairs in a room when the pub actually shakes when they play. And then you've got this Less Than Jake where you'll be on at the O2 in Leeds, which is like, it's like a barn, it's massive.
Yeah, I mean, I am very excited about doing this, but we are very aware that we are the opening act of 5 acts. On that with those O2 things. So I'm very aware that we're incredibly lucky to have been invited, but we are also still very much the small fry on that tour, and it'll be our first stint into those larger venues. So it's exciting and it's nerve-wracking, and it'll certainly be a marker for how well we do with that tour as to what comes afterwards.
Oh yeah, gig venues. Do you have favourites?
The Waterloo in Blackpool always springs to mind when people ask me this. I love that venue. I love the atmosphere in there. I love the people that work there and run it. And I love the scene. Like, the Blackpool scene is incredible. So that's definitely up there. New Cross Inn in London is one of my favourites. Again, it's the scene. It's the people that run it. It's the people that come to the show. Those two for sure. Those are probably right at the top of my list. But I mean, if we're going to go for fun on stage and grandeur and sound, then the O2 Brixton Academy. Woo! That was fun. That was so much fun because there was just Sorry?
Who'd you play that one with?
that was the Fireball tour. So that was Less Than Jake, Coldfinger, Save Ferris, Buster Shuffle, Thieves of Liberty, and a couple of others that played that. So the Fireball tour is a massive tour around the UK with 2 or 3 massive US ska punk bands essentially, and then they have other supports from around the UK doing the whole tour. And there's usually a winner of that Fireball tour that ends up doing the whole tour the following year, and that was Thieves of Liberty, but we won the place to do the London opening slot. And so that was my first innings of being on a big O2 stage, and like the experience of having these pillars of monitors either side of the stage so I can hear my voice at head level was incredible, and the space in front of the monitors to dance around and be a big spinning top everywhere and just a whirlwind across the stage. That was awesome fun. But my 2 independent venues, Waterloo and Blackpool, and Newcastle in London.